Stay in your lane. I think one of my other viewers might have gone to it a little bit. If you ever watch people in a races, they all have their lane, right? They got to run the race, right? And when one of the runners leaves his lane and goes to the next, he gets faulted and he loses the prize, right? Um, in the aspect of the real world that we live in, it is never ever just like the rules are laid out in life. A lot of people don't follow them, but there really are rules. There really are, what do you want to call it? Social etiquette, spiritual etiquette, manners. The thing is about all of it is that staying in your place in your life where you basically just concerned about what's going on with you and you care about those around you, but you are not nosy. You're not the kind of person desires to be a busybody with other people. You let things be. It is a very fulfilling way to be and to exist in one's life. Because it really does teach you that the majority of the stuff that you will have to experience in life is not really as important as the people who are in other lanes will come over to your lane to get you to be involved, right? Now, in all the massive, massive rules and principles that comes from God, social rules and principle, the ones who stays in their lane usually end up having a much more uh, less complicated life and lifestyle, right? We live in a time in history where even men are advising and women are doing the same thing too, to be careful who you marry and where you associate and whom you associate with, because people in general have a tendency to come into your lane. And why is because your lane is more interested than theirs. Now the thing is, the people who grow in their life are usually look on to other people, and whatever they admire for the sake that they want to be like that, right? The cheater and the one who doesn't know how to stay in their lane ain't interested in admiring you for what you have so they can be like that. They admire the benefits of what you have, because every good quality in your life is going to call the admirable qualities are going to bring along rewards, guaranteed. You get a good worker in a position, and I know some positions it depends on if the boss is a total jerk. You're not going to have that, right? But in general, the people who do well in their life, what I mean by their attitudes and their manners and their character, tend have a tendency to do better. They're more successful. And where the liability lies is that there's people who like to step into other people's lanes, and they're an interesting bunch because they display an interest in you that is um, it is not admirable. There's something right off the bat that is not right about it. For instance, I met this one person, guy. I was selling some stuff, and so I met him, and he seemed to be a nice guy and everything, right? But so he said, hey, let's just hang out, have a coffee, sit around and chat, right? But as I got to know him, a lot of his conversation revolved around what was going on with how his ex-wife did this and that to him and so on and so forth, right? So, you kind of have a listening ear and everything, it's just part of getting to know people. But I observed a few times there that when we were sitting in this place, a public place, that I got distracted a few times by what was going on in the environment. One guy was being kicked out. So I saw him look at me with this kind of like, he looked like he was quite upset that I was not giving him my full attention. And those kinds of things throw you off. Because this is where people they're putting out expectations that they are not really yes, they don't give an allowance. Like you have to. I'm I'm telling you something, and I'm demanding your attention completely. And there's a place. I mean, there's a place when you're talking to people. If they're not going to give you, if they don't really care for you, they're not going to. Like you feel like you're just talking to the wall. But I'm not talking about that. So sometimes if people are quite demanding, they feel entitled to what's going on right now, and they want your ears for the whole duration of the time that you've been with them, and that you really don't get a chance to, well, be you also in the transaction. People who don't stay in their lanes are very much like this, because it's lopsided and it's one-sided. Stay in your lane has a whole lot of advantages, because when you obey the rules of life and you stay in your lane, you run the race, you're more focused, and you're guaranteed to reach your goals um, uninterrupted in a much better way, because you're not, you see, the thing is about staying in your lane, like as in a race. People who learn to stay in their lane are also highly disciplined, because it takes a certain amount of discipline, okay, that when you're running a race, you're not there to hobnub, and you're not there to basically see how the next runner is doing. You're there to compete based upon your training, not compete with the other people. You're there to compete in the race. I see this is a big difference with staying in your lane compared to other people. Other people are in the race of life to compete with you, right? So the majority of times what they're going to do is they're looking over in your lane, they're trying to see even ways that there's obstacles they could throw in the environment. And you come later on in your life, and you really grasp the fact, you know what, there's a whole lot of time that can be go by and be wasted, because even though people have sung the song, oh, time is on your side, time is not on your side. Time is just is, right? And we have to be extremely guarded, and also at the same time very take in high value time, because the more time we waste with other people by by getting them to even come over to our lane, we miss out on what's in our own lane. And I'm just going to leave you with this. I would say stay focused. Uh, be very aware of those who are basically running a race. And while they're looking, instead of looking straight ahead, they're looking at you. Okay. They're watching your moves. They're watching your, how you're running your race. Because, like I said, you're not here to compete with people. You're basically in a competition of the race, not competing with the other racers, right? And in so many aspects in our living, I mean, even just applying it to so many areas of our living, of our existence, is that we really are all about, in any way you look at it, shape or form, you want to wake up always knowing you have a sense of accomplishment, that you have actually um, done what you set out to do, that you're a person who's focused and you haven't lost your focus by who's now in your environment, that you haven't gotten thrown off your lane and you find yourself running someone else's race. Because people do have that tendency to do that too. They'll try to get you to run their race, and you can't do that. So, in all due respect, for inspiration for today, man, stay focused, look straight ahead. You ain't concerned about competing with anyone. You're just basically in the competition, the whole big massive thing called the competition, right? And that's, if you can look at it anyway, just say it's called the game of life, or call it just being alive, right? some of the best lanes you'll find yourself in, and just like you're running and you get to be enjoying the scenery. You're not just running on a track, but you're running out in the wild, in the field. You're enjoying the sun, you're enjoying the mountains, you're enjoying nature. And while other people are on the rat race, right, you're off the beaten path, and you don't want to get beaten up on that path. You're on a good path. You're on a path even you can make for yourself in the race, in a massive competition of life. And along the way, that you have the right to always look up to the living God and ask Him consistently for strength, for grace, and above all, that He gives you the wisdom to stay within the lane, what He's designed for you, your designation. Because no one else can do you. You're unique, right? And you're not unique to the point that you're basically, your uniqueness takes you on to destruction, but God takes what is you and He makes you into a better version of you, right? A bigger version, a holy version, a divine version, right? Which is a lot like Himself. So you all have a good day, and do like and subscribe. Thank you.